we would love to introduce you and have everyone put their hands together for Bret Johnson and warmly welcome you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Bret has built several multi-million-dollar lifestyle companies with his wife, Chalene Johson, and he has taught countless of others how to do the same by helping them work smarter and not harder. So this is why he developed this super awesome course, Money Matters 101, which we hope that you're going to share with us also a little bit in the by the end of this,
Yep.
also throughout. And thank you so much for being here.
I appreciate it. Up early over here, but let's go.
And congratulations for Brooke and
Sierra. Yes, my two children. So yeah, I know a little bit about money. We paid for 2 weddings in 30 days, so we learned how to budget and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Fantastic. Bret, can you share us a little bit about like your backstory? What got you into business?
Well, yes, of course. To go all the way back, I'm not gonna. So a few years ago, I used to be what we call over here in the United States, so a football player, but American football. So, helmets crash into each other, that kind of stuff. So I played football through college and into the pros. And I was raised by my mom and dad. My mom was a stay-at-home mother, and my dad was a school teacher / football coach. So we were like a fixed income, traditional, American type family where, it's like one income, you live in a house. I had a brother, that was it. And so I didn't learn like the entrepreneurship or how to run a business until after college. I went to school, I played football, I studied history. And so I didn't have much business background, but I was a quarterback, and quarterbacks are like leaders and people that, know how to put together a team, know how to like organize and stuff like that. And I was always really good with numbers and money. So when I married Chalene came from a parent, her father, who was a serial entrepreneur, like tried a million businesses and really encouraged Chalene to start tons of businesses. So when I met Chalene in college, she was already doing like 3 or 4 different things. So I kind of learned through her, like, oh, okay, this is how you do this kind of stuff, right? Long story short, we get married and we start a fitness business together, and it just expanded and grew. And I kind of learned, I had to learn on the run. And, but I had a good foundation with numbers, how to lead, and everything else I just kind of learned through other people that have already done it. That's like our thing is like, you guys are students of ours. We were students of other people that are out there too, because it was like, if somebody's already done it, like go find that person, because they're going to give you all the shortcuts, because time is money. And if you can invest in somebody that's going to get you there faster, I mean, why wouldn't you do that? So we started doing all this online course building and trying to, because everybody's gone through something to try to figure something, out. And it boggles my mind when people are like, I just don't know what I could like sell somebody, or I don't know what I could like teach somebody. And everybody has experiences that they've gone through, that maybe you go to your best friend and you're like, hey, how did you get through that tough time? Or how did you start that business? And you can teach people how to do that. And people are willing to pay you a certain amount of money based on your expertise to build a business. And that's what we did. But then we took it a step farther and we kind of perfected the model and put it all into one big giant academy where people can learn how to start a business online or even a physical business. Our stuff works for, brick and mortar and all that kind of stuff. So we started just building that kind of that foundation. And we figured out that as long as you kind of go in the certain steps in the right order, you can pretty much start like any business. So we've started like little branch businesses throughout our whole marriage. In fact, the last one that we just did was the one she was like, Bret, you teach all of my girlfriends how to make their money make money. how to work smarter, right? Have your money work for you. Why don't you put that all in a course, right? So that's what I did. And literally all I did was on my certain appointments, I would record into my phone because I think that when you are talking about money, it helps that you don't have too many like things going on where like there's graphs and all that kind of stuff like that. And I wanted to make it really simple that people could kind of like listen to it like podcast style and kind of just get the information. And it's one of those courses that's really small and you could like binge it in a weekend.
Fantastic.
And it's very like, it's not like, and it's not really like, if people are listening to like, oh, I don't know anything about like finances or investing or anything like that. I named it Money Matters 101, and I used 101 because I wanted the person to feel secure, like you're coming in with like, I don't care if you don't have any knowledge about anything, if you're in debt. So it kind of helps you get that process of like how to get out of debt, how to start finding money where you're wasting money, and then a few other tools, and then just very little small, like very small, like investing tools, because I didn't want to go too deep, because that's when people go, like they throw up their hands and they're like, I'm out. Like I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my background.
Oh wow! Thank you so much. We love it.
Yep.
We love it. We love it. We love you. We love Chalene. We love your kids. We love everything about the Johnsons.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for changing the world for us.
Thank you.
With
Thank
us.
you.
You guys are amazing. Amazing.
Thank you.
And you said something so important. You said like secure, like people need to feel secure, and they feel secure like with what you have created, which is so important when it comes to money. What is it that what would you say is the number one mistake that people make and their with their money?
I think that it's very easy, but I think people overspend. They don't budget. Like they don't realize what they're spending money on. And it's like one of the first things that I have people do is I'm like, download your bank statements, your credit card statements, wherever your money is flowing out of, download that. And I want you to download that every single month until you feel really like confident about where you think your money's going. I mean, I've had people do that, and after like 3 weeks, they go, I just saved like $500 a year because I was paying for all these weird apps. I mean, hello, COVID, like everybody was buying all these crazy apps and on their phone because we couldn't do anything, right? And then people forget to go cancel them or just anything like that. So if you're not looking at that kind of stuff, and people don't, they just go through life. They wake up, they go get their coffee, they go to work, they do their life, and they just forget to look at that. And then at the end of the month, they're like, gosh, I'm just still living just like paycheck to paycheck, or I'm just getting by. And there's money there, and that starts to add up. And I think the first thing that people need to do is you need to know where your money's coming in from, where it's going out to, and start understanding your finances. Like nobody else is responsible for it. Your parents aren't responsible for it. You are responsible for it. If you have a spouse or something, you do that together. So Chalene, I do all that finance stuff, but I always tell her like what's going on. At the end of the year, we have this fun meeting where we pop open a bottle of champagne and we like go through the numbers. I lay it all out for her because she's very like visual, and she wants to go really slow, and she wants to ask a bunch of questions. And guess what? We make decisions based off of those numbers, because numbers don't lie. If you're struggling in an area and you're not paying any attention to that, right? It's just like water. It's just like watering a plant. Like if you're like, you just let it die over in the corner, it's not magic. Like you have to like pour some energy into these business centers or these different streams of income. And if you're not, they die. And if you're not looking at them on a regular basis, it could sneak up on you really fast. So my number one thing I tell everybody is if you're not doing this, you have to do it once a month. Pick a Sunday. Do it if you're like, wow, even a month sounds. Do it once a week. I mean, We live in this era where you have a mobile app. You can just look at what's going on a weekly basis and get your finances under control and set a budget and set, like, why am I going out to dinner so much? Why I don't need to do that. Like, everything,
Wow.
right? If you're in that position, and then the next thing is how to get out of debt, like how to get out of debt with that kind of stuff. So there's probably extra money laying around that you could probably start paying off some debt if you have it.
Wow. And what would you say to a person who is avoiding actually looking into that? You know, it's like, oh, I really don't want to open that.
Because if they're saying that, they already know there's a problem.
Exactly.
Right? They already know there's a problem. And you know, Chalene and I have told this story numerous times. We were $440,000 in debt at one time. And I'm not going to go, it's a different story. They can go look that up and figure out and then watch us talk about that. But the bottom line is we got out of it because we sat down, pen and paper, and figured out the game plan on, like, how you just can't wish it to happen. You just can't, like, you know, you have to do the work. You have to, like, put it on paper. Like, how am I going to do this? And you have to come up with a plan. If your goal is to get out of debt, you have to stop doing what you're doing right now that got you into debt. And make a new plan.
What would you say? How fast can someone recover after a financial mistake or maybe some debt?
I think it's based on how much money you're making and how much debt you have. So, I mean, it can be really quick. I think people think that it's going to take a lot longer than it does. If you're disciplined, you can get out of it pretty fast. So we'll just use easy numbers. If you have $1,000 worth of credit card debt, right, every single month, and you bring in $10,000 a month or $8,000 a month, what you need to do is, like, I'm not going out. I'm not doing anything until this debt is paid off. And I'm going to take every last dollar that is extra and I'm going to pay that off. And when you do that, it happens really fast. Really fast. But you have to be disciplined. You can't be like, oh, I want to go on holiday or vacation, or, you know, you have to have some sacrifice. Mm-hmm. Just like anything else. I always, because we were in fitness, right? So we did fitness for years. My wife was a celebrity fitness trainer. We did fitness. And the same mindset of people that want to lose weight versus people that want to get out of debt, it's very similar, right? It's like people, like, what they do is, like, what everybody right around Christmas to New Year's, what do they say? I want to get in better shape. I want to get in better shape. So it's funny, the people that want to get in better shape, but they haven't gone to the gym or they haven't worked out in a while, they're like, I'm going to lose 5 pounds first before I go to the gym. What? That's like, that's backwards. You go to the gym to lose weight, right? You just got to start. That's my whole point, is, like, you have to start. It's just like if you're in a fitness journey, you want to get a little healthier or whatever, you have to start. You want to start eating healthy, you have to start. So if you want to get out of debt, you have to start applying skills and be disciplined to get out of debt.
Brilliant. Thank you so much for that.
Yep.
And what is your number one tip for becoming financial freedom?
Passive and multiple streams of income.
Mm.
So I'm not, just to save time. I have this. So if you go follow me on Instagram, Bret Johnson, 1 T with Bret, because my parents couldn't afford the second T. So Bret Johnson 11. I'm sorry, it's not Bret 11. It's Bret Johnson 11. And if you go to the DMs and all you do is you type in the word streams, right? I will send you all the multiple streams of income and an audio of all the multiple streams of income that Chalene and I have, and describe them, because you might not know them all, right? There's 7 of them. Most millionaires have at least 4 of them, right? And we have all 7, and we have multiples of those. Like, we have more than one each one, if that makes sense. So if they go to my Instagram, Bret Johnson 11, type in the word streams, and we will literally send you the whole, it's like a little podcast. It's a PDF that goes along with it. It's awesome. So that
wow.
they can get that. And that's to become financially free. you have to have, I mean, unless you're like, you know, you're a one-hit wonder, right? And you just you create the widget and everybody buys the widget, and that. But for most people, and even that person that creates the widget, they start going and doing all the other multiple streams of income because they don't want to have to be like relied on the widget for the rest of their life, right? So being passive and having money make your money, which is amazing once you start investing money, whether it could be in the stock market, it could be in real estate, it could be in lots of different things. Also, passive income is when you create something once and you drive people to a freemium, like I just did with streams, or you drive them to a webinar or whatever it might be, and you sell them something, and you're sitting in Saint Tropez having a cocktail, and all of a sudden you look at your PayPal or your payment stream, and you have sales coming in. That's passive income, and that's when you can start feeling like, oh, wow, I can go on vacation, or I can be going out to dinner, or I could be doing other things, or I could be working on another stream of income because this stream of income is self-reliant. That's when it starts.
Mm-hmm. That's exciting.
As you guys know, that's when it becomes fun.
Yes, it does. It does.
So what about also all those people that say, I don't like numbers, and it sounds so difficult, or maybe they want to get a little bit deeper into it, but they feel like it's into investing, but they feel like it would be something difficult.
For those people, it can be as easy as just like setting up your car payment. So what I mean by that is there are tools both here in the United States and all over the world. Like if you want to do an investment thing, you can allocate a certain amount of your money every single month. And it's what I recommend because nobody can time an investment. Nobody can time the market. You can't tell me that right now it's ugly, right? The world, because we dump too much money into the system, and for whatever reason, we have wars going. Just everything is ugly right now. People, America says we're close to a recession. I think we're in a recession. I think I know other countries have already announced they're in a recession. I think England has, and I think Germany has, and I think Australia has. So I think that and I don't know when we're going to come out, and either do you or any expert. They can't predict. They can't tell you that. Or they all would have told you last November of 2021, take your money out of the market because it's going to crash. And nobody told you that. So I can't tell you that, something's going to happen and the market's going to take off. So my recommendation is just allocate. And I talk about this in my course. I think the perfect amount is between 5 and 15% of your income. So if you make $100,000, between $5,000 and $15,000 should go towards your investing portfolio, whatever that might be. Divide it by 12 and put it in every month. And then that way you never have, that just solves the problem of the person. Like, I don't want to have to look, and I don't want to, no, don't. Just set it, forget it, and do it. And go ahead and look at it like every quarter or every, 6 months or something like that. And you'll be surprised after 5 years, because markets tend to do this. They don't go straight up and they don't go straight down. They kind of ride a wave up. And then some days they go down, some days they go up. But for the most part, they go up. And I think if you do that, if you're a person that's like numbers, just do that, set it, forget it. And there's things that you can put it in. I talk about them in my course, that you don't have to have a lot of knowledge. You just put it in there and forget about it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So guys, you know what to do.
Yeah.
Go and get this course. Bret, what would you say are the three top ways for cash flow in an online business?
Okay. So I think in an online business, it depends what it is. So I'm assuming you're saying that you're selling something that isn't physical.
Yeah.
Correct? So online, an online course, so a digital course.
That's
Okay.
right.
So our number one thing that we teach is your social can go away. I was flying to my son's wedding. Okay. And all of a sudden I look down and I show Chalene, I go, look what just happened. Instagram decided that they needed to verify who I was because I was having all these fake accounts popping up. I think you guys have sent me a couple of them.
Yes.
And they get really creative. Instead of Bret Johnson 11, they go Bret Johnson period 11, Bret Johnson dash 11, Bret Johnson L 11. So they do all these weird things, and they were soliciting my customers through the DMs to get them to buy cryptocurrency or something like some weird thing, right? Most people would be just like, that's not Bret. Bret doesn't even ever talk about cryptocurrency, right? But for some people, they engage, right? So, but most people are like, fake account. But what happens is when you go to Instagram, like most of you know, to say this account's fake,
Yeah.
they were telling Instagram that I was fake, that the real Bret Johnson was fake, because I'm not verified, which is totally stupid. It's like I'm enough of a public figure that I know other people that have like 5,000 followers that are like, they have a blue check and they don't do anything. I'm like helping people sell things. Like, stop this already. We've shown them DMs of these people, like how they're soliciting our customers. I mean, that's like they're trying to get people's money. I'm like, make me verified so people know that it's me. But long story short, so I haven't been verified, but they shut my account down as I'm going to my son's wedding. So I have no Instagram. So people are DMing me, or tagging me and stuff. And, I can't see anything for 48 hours. I don't own Instagram. I don't know Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know him. I can't just text him and say, hey, what the hell's going on? But what I do own is my email list. And your email list is your digital bank.
Wow.
Because who owns the email list? You own the email list. Nobody can take your email list away from you. So the number one thing that you have to do as an online creator, course maker, whatever, is you have to build your email list. You could have the greatest course in the world, but if you don't have anybody to email, it's useless, right? Because you can't count on social media helping you sell that course, because they could take you down. It could be gone. Like, you could be like, I got 3 million followers on TikTok and I'm killing it. Oh yeah? Well, TikTok's owned by China. And literally it could be like the US could just say, we don't want that anymore in our country. And just TikTok's gone in a day and your revenue's done. So, but can you use, now the next step is social media. So email list, number one. Number two is leverage your social media, whatever platform you are on, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, Pinterest, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it might be, right? That's marketing impact. We have them all in there, right? You can, all of a sudden, you're like, I want to learn about Pinterest. You can go in there. Hey, I want to learn about TikTok. You can go in there and learn about TikTok. Whatever platform you have to learn how to leverage that platform. So by me telling you what my email, what my Bret Johnson 11, and if you type in streams into my DM, you'll see what happens. Like, you literally will get this beautiful freemium that's free for your email, right? And then you will be what your guys' clients will do. You guys know this. I'm sure you teach them this, but you'll see our marketing. What happens? You will then now get 3 or 4 emails in a row explaining this course with testimonials and stuff like that. But I have your email. You've said, hey, I like your stuff. Send me more, right? So number one, email list. Number two, leverage your platform, your email platform, and use whatever tools you can. I don't know if your listeners or your followers know this, but there's a third-party plugin that's Instagram approved. It's called ManyChat. Have you used it?
We haven't used it yet, but we heard about it.
Okay, so ManyChat is what I'm using when they type in the word streams. And they'll get all of the stuff on the back end, and it's approved by Instagram. Okay. So it's called ManyChat. They should look into it. Brock does it. Our son does it all the time. Now, our son has grown on Instagram, 500,000 followers in like 16 months, all organic, no paid. And he teaches people how to grow their business organically, but he bet your bottom dollar he's using ManyChat. He's using all the tools to get people their email address. So what you want to do is you want to get people's email address through DMs or whatever it might be, through stories or whatever. And your freemium can't be something that is trash. Like, you have to spend some time. It used to be, 7 years ago, you could give a freemium of just like, hey, here's a PDF, download it. People would be like, oh, okay, I'll take it. But people are very protective of their email. So your freemium has to be almost something like, I would have paid for this. Like, it's got to be that good. So all of our freemiums, we run it by and we're like, what would we pay for this? Like, for this knowledge. And if we're not saying, oh, we would pay $15 or $20 for this knowledge or whatever it might be, then we're like, back to the drawing board. We got to make it better. And then the third thing is then if you're comfortable, it's actually four things. So if you're comfortable speaking to people like this, is try to get on other people's podcasts, right? Try to get on people that are like-minded and like you can go on their podcast and share like this, if that's something. And the other one is like, create your own webinar where you're going to drive paid traffic to. Right? So you have a small budget and you're going to use Facebook ads, or you're going to use YouTube ads or Google or whatever you're going to use. And you can also use your social to leverage the webinar too. So you can tell people, like, I'm doing this webinar. And the most exciting thing is when you have a successful webinar and you've recorded it. And then, I don't want to get too over everybody's head, but then you're like, oh my God, that worked really well. I got 20 sales and only 40 people were on it. And I'm going to make this evergreen. And then you run ads to it and they show up and it's a recording, but it looks like it's live. And then you're sitting there in Saint-Tropez having your drink and you're running a webinar, but you're like, wait a second, you're two places at once, but you're like, oh yeah, it's 3:00. The webinar's running right now. So those are the things, how to leverage your online business.
Brilliant. Thank
So
you.
much fun. Okay, question.
Yes.
People then who want to create all of this stuff, sometimes we've seen with our clients that they have this mindset that selling low ticket prices is they feel like they can't win, so maybe they don't play and they just want to play big numbers, right? And have high ticket numbers. So in that, what would you say with social media and creating cash?
So I think we're talking a little bit more of about a customer journey. So if you want to get to a high ticket item, right? I might be able to come on here and just the way I'm talking right now, by the end, I might be able to convince a couple people to come on to me with I'll teach you how to do this. I'm going to do that. I don't do this, but I'll teach you how to create financial freedom. And my membership or my mentorship for a year is $25,000, right? But I'm talking to people that don't really know me, right? So that works. That's hard. That's really hard to do. We teach, and what we think is the best thing to do is to start with a low ticket offer and take people through a journey that gets them to where they want to go. And that might end up at a high ticket offer, and you might have that in your customer journey. So when you're writing out your plan, right? And I think it's really important to do this, is okay, you start off with how am I going to build my email list? Well, I'm going to create this amazing freemium. And I'm going to teach people how to get through having teenagers, right? Because I've had 6 teenagers and they turned out great or whatever, right? So you're going to create a freemium. And then the next step is you're going to create a course on, maybe that course is $500 to $1,000, right? And they can do it online. So now who's your market? The whole world, right? Then there's a certain, so you get people in the bucket, right? So you get in the funnel. Right? So the top is the freemium, where it's easy. It's free. Then the next thing is you have a little tier of people that are going to maybe pay you $100 for something or $200 for something. Then the next tier is they get a little bit more of you, It's like maybe 500 to 1,000. Maybe you're going to be jumping on a monthly call for them for 3 months, or right, to work through some of their questions, right? Maybe there is a personal coaching aspect to it, right? Maybe the ticket goes up a little bit higher. Then you get to this final thing where it's like 1 year membership, 5,000, 10,000, whatever it might be, right? But we believe that that journey is going to be more successful for you, and you're going to get a better customer too, right? Because if you just all of a sudden just concentrate on this high ticket offer, you're going to get people that are like, they don't know you very well. You might get lots of refunds. You might get some, unsatisfactory comments. It might be difficult, but like if they're on a customer journey, they know who you are. Like they're like, wait a second. If they're creating this much value for me for $1,000, I'm joining their membership for $10,000 a month, or $10,000 a year, whatever it might be. But I think the customer journey, and we used to do mentorship probably before we even, like, you guys even went through our stuff or anything like that. We did it for 1 year. Actually, we did it for 2, and we didn't like it. Because we felt responsible for the people that weren't doing what we said. Like we could teach them, and whatever they weren't in the right headspace. They just they weren't confident about themselves, and those are the people that we were spending most of our time with, trying to fix them or whatever, and it just wasn't worth it. And it was a lot of money. We just didn't. We both looked at each other at a dinner, and we were just like, I don't want to do this anymore. And she's like, good, because I don't want to do it anymore either. So we didn't do that. But we have a course that's $2,500, and it's lifetime access, and it's you guys have both done it. You guys both know it's lifetime access. You guys both know. Love it. Yes, that you can go in there anytime, and you're like, wait a second, these people are always we update all of our lessons, so it's crazy, right? For $2,500, but that's like our main course, and I would consider that high ticket for some of your customers. We also created an Instagram membership 2 years ago, and people are in there for anywhere between $27 and $47, and if you buy a year of it, it's even less than $27. That would be low ticket. That business has over 10,000 members. That's
brilliant. We're part of this too, by the way. We love it.
Yes. So, and that's the other thing is, when you create something, you have to give more than, like, people have to be like blown away by your stuff. And then that's how you get, fans that are going to buy whatever you put out. But it's great content. But that's a small ticket item. But look at how much revenue it generates.
Brilliant.
And so you can make it on both ways. I mean, so those are 2 examples. And then, if we wanted to, we could start a mastermind, but we don't want to do that.
Bret, what would you say, to get to these numbers, to get to, like 11,000 members, joining the amazing things that you do. How do you do that? I mean, is it only through social media, like sharing and qualifying the people, so that, because it's also about the quality of people that are joining the things.
Yeah, I think, I mean, there's all kinds of tools to grow, but I mean, I'll go back to what I talked about earlier. I mean, it's an email list. It's an email list that's been built over the years, and that it's not going anywhere. And I think the last time, I mean, I still have to, like, every year I have to upgrade my Infusionsoft / Keep, like, because it keeps growing and growing. But it's like, people are like, oh, we have to do, and we clean our list a lot too. So for those of you that don't know what that means, is like, we go through and make sure that there's no duplicates, or if people haven't responded to any of our emails for 6 months, we boot them out. Like, it's like, okay, they're not opening anything. You can look at your open rate and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. But obviously, first up is your email list will get you to where you want to go in terms of how much revenue. And there's multiple ways to build that. I'm doing one right now, because I did a podcast. You can give out a free. Most of the people, if you have good information and you get on podcasts, and don't swing. If you're like a new person in this industry, don't swing for the fences and go like, hey, I want to get on Chalene's podcast because she's got 80,000 downloads per episode. You start smaller. right? Build up, but every time you're out there in front and never do it. So when I talk, and you guys know this from Instagram, you don't want to like put that stuff on your feed, meaning you don't like your daily feed. You want to talk about that stuff you want to talk about yourself and what you do in your stories.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to keep that very relevant. If that's what you want to do, if you want to grow your business, using social media, then use your social media for business. Don't use it to like, for have a different account if you want to show like babies and puppies and that kind of stuff. But you definitely want to stay in your lane and build your business. And I also think that, Vicky, I think a lot of people want to do a million things. There's that entrepreneur too that has like a million ideas, and they have to focus until you get one right. And guess what? That doesn't mean if the first one you're in it like 3 or 4 months and you're just like, okay, this isn't what I thought it was be. You can change. There's no rules that say you can't change and shift and go to something else, but you can't do 10 things at once because none of them will work. You have to start with one, pick a lane, build it, and then you can just repeat.
Mic drop.
So good. So good. So good. What is the best investment for the end of 2022?
I think that this is my predict. This is what I always tell people.
Yeah.
I get people because here in the States, and I don't follow the other markets, but here in the States, the stock market's down, 30%, right? And people like look at their retirement and look at their portfolio, and they're like, "Gosh, I've lost a lot of money this," and that's hard to do. But you haven't lost it. You don't lose until you sell, right? So if Apple's down 20%. And I sell it because I'm scared it's going to go down 5% more. And I have my money sitting in cash, and Apple takes off and goes back to up 25%. Now I've lost because it wasn't in Apple. So my number one thing is like, if you're a long-term investor, and that's what I preach, I'm not doing this to gamble. Like, I'm not a day trader. I'm not doing any of that stuff. If that's what you're interested in, your listeners, like they're interested in, I want to make the quick buck and I want to have that rut. That's not me. I'm like, put the money in good businesses that make money, right? I'm pretty sure that 10 years from now, Apple is still going to be around because nobody's getting rid of their Apple phone. Like, we're not going to create something else that's like everybody's in the cult is going to say, okay, let's go to this phone, right? I'm pretty sure Amazon's still going to be around. I'm pretty sure there's companies that aren't going anywhere. And my suggestion for people that if they're just starting out now, guess what? That's great because the market's down 30% and you're probably going to see that over the next 2 or 3 years come back. So you're in a great position. So my suggestion would be just like I talked to before, Vicky, is I would start putting in that percentage every single month. I might even start investing a little bit more at the end of 2022 because I think that we're pretty close to what the bottom might be. Now, I can't predict if Putin's going to do something crazy because I don't know him and he seems pretty crazy. So, but those are like global things that you can't predict. So, but based on like historic stock market investing things, I think that we're probably close to the bottom and you can start being a little bit more aggressive. I think being aggressive or being conservative has to do with your age and your timeline. So the closer you are in retirement, the more conservative you get, the farther away from retirement, or if you are somebody that has a very successful business and you're going to be continuing to make money, you can be a little bit more aggressive. And I would say that real estate really boomed from COVID till about 6 months ago. And I think that if you're looking to buy a house or anything like that, I think I would wait. I think I would wait for the prices to go down even more because I think that's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
So those are the couple things that I would say towards the end of 2022 into 2023 would happen.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yay.
And what would you say are some of your favorite money beliefs?
Money beliefs?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I have one tattooed on me. It says "Scared money don't make money."
Oh, no.
So I think that if you're very like of a scarcity mindset is really hard to scarcity mindset's very hard to make money, do things on your own in terms of like entrepreneurship or investing, because you always think like, and it's probably stems from like what your parents said to you about money. And so people that are in that frame have to do some kind of like work on themselves, like whether it's therapy or whatever, because you're not going to be able to like, you won't be able to change that. If people have that mindset already, like right now, everybody's like, if this freaks you out that the market's down 30%, then probably investing is not good for you. I look at it like you guys like to shop, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
What's your favorite store?
Amazon.
Amazon.
Okay, Amazon's having a 30% off sale of everything you like. You guys would both leave me right now and run to the other computer and buy all of the crap that you want to buy on Amazon, right? That's what the stock market's doing right now. Like it's down 30%. It's like I'm like Apple's giving me free stock. Like it's like so, and as long as you're investing the way I kind of talked about earlier, where you're kind of, I call it like bleeding money in, like you're just doing a little bit increments, you're gonna catch, you might not catch the bottom, but you might not, but you're gonna it's called dollar cost averaging in. So you're making sure that like you're not putting it all in at once and then the market drops. You're kind of just putting it in regularly and steady, and that happens. I say Apple because it's just so well known. It's like the one company like everybody knows. But I think scarcity and is a tough thing that people have to like. And if you are like, if you're like, you just don't think like there's ever going to be enough money, or you are like, I don't know if I can do that. You got to work on yourself. And then I'm of the mindset of like abundance and like helping people out, and that the more I give, or the more I help people, the more that I receive. So it's just like, that's my mindset on that.
Love
Thank you
that.
so much for that. This is so important, and especially to feel safe also with money, and
Yes.
because somebody can have the best strategies, but if this isn't in place, how actually could it work? So thank
Yes.
you so much for this.
And understand where it is. Like that was the first thing we talked about, is like understand where your bank accounts and where it's coming in and where it's going out.
So true.
I mean, don't when somebody asks you like, oh, how much money, like know your numbers. Like you're like, it's not cute to not know your numbers.
Love that. Bret, what did you teach your kids about money?
Pretty much everything that I've just talked about in this podcast. I
Love that.
they're both entrepreneurs. They both started their own businesses, and both in different directions. Brock's digital, Sierra is physical. Sierra's creating her own beauty line right now at 22 years old. Like
Wow, congratulations.
yes, it's amazing. She's going to launch it a little bit later this year. But like learning like all the things that you have to do, and she's doing them, like seeding and social and getting people's email addresses, and just kind of like letting people be part of the brand and stuff like that. So I think they grew up with that kind of, and they both knew that they wanted to be their own bosses. They liked that freedom of like, hey, I want to go to New York this weekend, and I don't want to have to ask somebody if I can get off work in the middle of the day on Thursday. I want to go to New York and have the company pay for it because I'm going to do work there, whatever it might be. So I think teaching them about about how being your own boss, it creates freedom, allows you to do what you want to do. I also taught them that investing early, like like they know where Chalene and I are investing, but we didn't start like heavily investing until 2004.
Huh?
So it doesn't take long. So 18 years. And I look at them at being, when they started, Brock was 18 and Sierra was 16. when they started doing like a little bit of investing and stuff like that, just a little bit. And now they're more into that 5 to 15% where they like to put it away. I also tell them that if investing in themselves is more lucrative at this point than investing in the stock market, then to go, by all means, do that, because they know, and when I mean invest in themselves, they're not going to buy a new car or a new watch or anything like that. It's like investing in the business, like investing in a better web designer, a better copywriter, a better this, a better that, which is going to enhance your business, which is going to bring the ROI is going to bring back, right? So as long as the ROI is going to be back, then invest in your business. And so, I just kind of stress that kind of stuff. And then the last thing, as you know, Chalene and I are big into help, like, hiring people to help you, giving that up early, because we didn't do that. We tried, like, Chalene's like workaholic, and like we tried to do everything ourselves at the beginning. And now that we have a bigger team and we're able to, like, and that doesn't mean you have to hire an employee. That means you have to hire somebody for 10 hours a week to take care of some things that you're taking care of, but it doesn't make any sense that you're taking care of. So kind of like instilling that to them in an early mindset. So those are probably the top ones.
Love it. So good. Bret, final questions. So many other questions are coming up. Very present to the time. So
we'll have to do it. We'll have to do a part 2, and maybe we'll do it a little bit later so Chalene can jump on.
Oh yeah, this was fantastic. If you would have one advice for the world about money, what would it be?
That's a good one. I think that it's for people that think that they're too old to start. They're not to start saving and investing. And for the rest of the world, for you 20 and 30-year-olds, start investing now, because the most amazing thing ever is compounding. And when you have years in the market of adding money to it, it's amazing what it does to your money. And like, you'll wake up one day when, like right now, when you're in your 30s, like your 50s seem like, oh my God, that seems like ancient, right? But it's going to be here that fast, and it's going to be so sexy and fun when you wake up in your 50s and you have like this giant nest egg, because you put the money away and you didn't do it. You just kept on adding to it, but like it just keeps compounding, right? So like if the market does 10% annually every single year on average, it's not going to do it this year, but it's going to make up for it, because we're going to have some years that are 16 and 17 and 18%, right? And what that does to your money over time is remarkable. And you've worked hard for that. You've worked hard for that money. So let's let that money work itself. Like let it build. Just keep it over there and just look at it every once in a while.
Wow. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, guys, so what to do. Definitely go and check out Bret's 101 money course. We highly recommend it. Everything that the Johnsons do, Chalene and Bret, and of course Sierra now with her new beauty line. We're so looking forward to this. Yeah. And also Brock. Beautiful. Thank you so much for adding so much value into our lives and into this podcast. We love you.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate it so much.